Yeah. So today's speaker is Saurabh, and he will be speaking about his experiences as a data scientist at KPMG. This session is going to be very interactive, so you can ask him questions and you can ask him anything about his journey. So let's get a brief introduction about him and then we can start the interactive session.
Well, thanks, Surbi. So nothing too special. I'm a regular guy, born and brought up in India, Mumbai. Uh, Passed out back in 2013 in electronics, telecommunication was my stream. I had a pretty traditional journey, you can say. After that, joined Cognizant, the proper MNC culture. Worked there for 3 years. I had different roles there. So I started out there as a developer, mostly doing unit white box testing, and then grew into the SQL mainframe, those kind of developing areas. After which automation was a big thing, DevOps was a big thing. So I tried on few things there as well. For some time, I was a temporary Scrum Master as well. So I just wanted to have as many experiences as much I could in those 3 years in Cognizant. Just wanted to explore because I wasn't completely happy with whatever I was doing. So be it developer, be it in automation, be it DevOps. I just felt that okay, this is not something I can do for like next 10, 15 years. So just was looking for different things, and more than anything, it's not like that I was just not happy with it, but also like I just wanted to explore, okay, what next is there, what else is there, what else is there. So those kind of things. Then fortunately, unfortunately, in my project, we had a scenario where we could actually implement some machine learning logic. So it was a very simple basic model. We were just trying to mimic what our rule-based decisioning system was. So we were working in a finance-based domain, right? And there we had, because of the existing setup in our system, we had delays in giving or processing applications of customers. So this is where we tried in exploring this idea. Okay, we can try this certain machine learning algorithm. Back then it was just very simple decision tree, and but it was a big thing then, and we were like very curious about, okay, how does it work and function. So we didn't have any data science experts, any statisticians with us. So again, I was the one who was anyways very keen to jump the wagon here and there. So I had few conversations with my stakeholders, and I told them like, okay, I can handle this probably along with my other duties, of course. So I tried that. I really enjoyed it, and within 6 months, we were able to build a model which was performing around 80% of the accuracy of what the original system is. But the difference being we didn't have that lag period or the wait period which our original machine had. So that was kind of something which gave me, okay, this is not bad. This is something which we can try. And this is where I decided, okay, let's start exploring this field more. And this is when I did online courses like everyone does, probably read those machine learning books, ISLR being one of the bibles I had back then. So I finished that book, and I was like pretty confident, okay, I can probably jump into this field. I think I'm good enough. Then I started giving some interviews, and the culture or the market in data science was so novice back then. So when I used to go for interviews, it was more of a discussions. Okay, like, okay, this is we can do, this is what we can do. Even the directors or the CTOs of those companies, they're like, okay, you tell us what data science can bring to this to our company. So it was more like having those conversations where we are just discussing rather than interviews. And then finally, I zeroed on one company which was called as Netcore back then. I mean, still called as Netcore, and it was a digital marketing company. And marketing and me don't go hand in hand, but during this stint, they were just kind of starting up their new data science team, and it was more of a, okay, let's explore what we can do here kind of an approach. And that is where we formed a small team around 3 members in the beginning. By the end of let's say 6 months, we had again around 10 people working. And sorry, what happened? Okay, right. And The my core area was NLP back then, and I worked there around for 1.5 years. After which I came to Ireland for my masters, and then probably I passed out in September last year and joined KPMG. Currently, I'm working as a consultant, and it's been almost 3 months. So the role here is quite interesting, quite challenging, I would say, because every month I have something new. So I don't know what 2 months down the line I'll be doing. So it will be something very out of my comfort zone. For example, right now I'm dealing with servers and infrastructure, which is like completely not my area. But that's the interesting thing about data science, where you can just switch field, keep on exploring different domains. As a kid, I always wanted to be a psychologist. That is something I did as well in data science in my last company, where we were kind of analyzing customer behavior. So finding out different relations. Okay, this guy, he likes cars. Okay, then he might be interested in these kind of products. Okay, so that kind of psychological behavior analysis we did. So that's the thing with data science. I mean, there's no limitations, no boundary. You have to be open. You cannot say, okay, this is not my area. You have to be open to everything. Anything which throws at you, you have to look at it as a normal problem, which how you would solve. Okay, data, machine learning, everything comes afterwards, but in the first place, it's like you have to kind of understand what the domain is, what the industry is, without which it will be very difficult. So being open and always be ready to know that, okay, you know nothing. So every time a problem comes in, I'm like, okay, I have no clue, absolutely no clue what I'm going to do here. But okay, we can ask for different arrangements to be done, different data sources, different things. So it's all about asking and talking to your stakeholders, learning on the in the process. And yeah, it is not a journey where you'll be comfortable all throughout your career. So it's like you cannot get comfortable with one project, because suddenly there will be something which will be coming and you'll be like, "Phew, I don't know what I'm going to do here." So yeah, but it's good, it's fun, it's entertaining. It always keep me on my toes. So yeah, that's probably my journey. So now, I mean, till now.
So you were saying that you were doing consultancy, right, at KPMG. So is it like management consulting in data analytics?
Right. So it's like you have something thrown at you, like, okay, so you have some meetings, some discussions with the business guys. They'll tell you, okay, this is what we are trying to do, so this is a project we are going to do. Okay, where do you think you fit in yourself? So you have to understand that, okay, whether I fit in here or not, if there is a need of any data specific solution. So that is the first thing you try to find out. Then once you understand that, my job is to organize a team with all the specialities, with all their capabilities. So one will be, let's say, a domain expert, one will be a technical expert, one will be a visualization expert. So these kind of things. Then my role here is to organize a team, function them, manage them, and deliver a specific solution which will help the business in achieving their goal. So it's a normal consultant job, which normally MBA grads do. It's pretty much the same thing, just that we come in with a certain edge to our skills, which is the data side of it, where everything we say has to be backed up by a data specific solution.
So basically, you would be creating models, and basically, you would be kind of visualizing your solutions and visualizing what you are coming up with so that you can show them to the business side of things.
Exactly. So pretty much like that. And yeah, I mean, I know many people have this notion of models, and we do kind of different algorithms, develop our algorithms. Yeah, I mean, there are pretty much many notions about this in the market. Yes, we do that, but there's also a certain dirty side of just understanding data, sleeping with that data, eating with that data, living with that data, and then trying to see, okay, is this even going to make sense in the end? So let's say you are working on certain data set and you come up with some insights and you think, okay, these are pretty good, and then you present it to the business and they'll be like, okay, we know this already. What new you can offer us? So you have to have that understanding of what the business knows and what they don't. So it's all about how much value you can add in the end. Okay, so it's not just about running those models and everything. It's all about it can be a very simple solution as well, a normal aggregated solution of certain things, just clustering them into different sections and presenting them. Sometimes even that can add huge value. So it's just about finding and understanding what the problem is and what it requires.
And a lot of the times, the data is also not very clean and structured. So I think the team would also, most of the time, be working with pre-processing the data to make sense out of it, right?
Yeah, mostly it's never. I mean, the data is never, at least in my career, I have never seen something like ready-made things given to us, like the Iris data, right? The Titanic data set you must have seen. It's all fantasy. Nothing like that exists.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. Like in uni, in college, they always give us like clean data sets, but I don't think that is ever a reality. I mean, even with
Exactly.
image data set and even with like, especially with image data set, it's so hard to sometimes make sense out of it. And even the classes, you have to make sure that everything is pre-processed before you actually do anything on it. So I think most of the time goes in just pre-processing the data.
True. So I just wanted to understand the audience here. So are we like all grad students here?
Most of them are in undergraduate, and Tanvi is working at the moment. Yes.
Okay, okay, perfect. So I remember when I was going into I mean, trying to enter the data science industry, and I used to go to these meetups and just try to understand, okay, what exactly happens, because it's such a mystery, right? That is why I think this interactive session was a good idea, because I remember people giving them PPTs and I'm just waiting for the like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Okay, when are you going to finish? Okay, I just need to ask few things. So I think, I mean, you guys should
Definitely.
definitely ask as much as you can. Just get it out of myself, because if I keep on talking, I'll probably bore myself and doze off, and you guys probably will doze off as well. So it's good if you can just ask anything. It can be anything silly. You can ask even personal questions. My girlfriend, anything you can ask. Just ask that out there. Okay, just keep this interactive.
Okay, I think I can start. Uh, so I really appreciate your career journey and how you explained it to us, and it did make sense. On no matter how traditional your journey is, the fact that you recognize that it was that and you needed something more, or you are interested in data, I think that's what is the most important thing here. So I have been a mix of, so I did my master's from UCD couple of years back, and I did a specialization in data and software. So one of the projects had a TensorFlow, and we did a machine learning model, and we tried to like get up the accuracy till 95, where and I put it in a camera model where the camera can operate on itself if you recognize certain words like smile or cheese or something. So but then that was that, and at the end it was used to teach undergraduates some Android application. And then I was like, I mean, it's not the full potential of a data model, if you know what I mean. So I would just like to ask, in your career journey or in your profession, I believe KPMG would have given you much more experiences. So is there any real business scenario or some complex problem which you solved via data? Like if you can give us any example of your day-to-day life, or anything which was like huge in terms of business aspects, but because you're from the technical side, data kind of helped you, and you could see it affect in the real world business problem. Because this is something I really, I mean, we from being from technical side, we know how useful data is, but I think there is a gap between the business side and the technical side. So we can raise the accuracy, or we can make sure it trains well and it has a clean data. But these are the terms only we understand. If you go to C-level executives, for example, they will want to know what exact profit margins they have or how well have you improvised. So is there any example like that? It would really help.
Right. So yeah. I was working for a digital marketing company. Okay. So in short, what they do is basically they send campaigns. So that will be digital campaigns. They'll send it through like SMS, emails, APN, BPN, right? And what they want is when they send a campaign, the success of a campaign is identified by how much of that campaign was actually read by the customer, right? So if I am sending a mail to all my customers, so how many out of 100 mails? Okay, 5 mails were read, 7 mails were read. So on an average, it's like 7% is the open rate, 10% is the open rate. So out of, let's say, they used to broadcast like around 1 million mails, out of which like 7% used to be read. So the problem statement here was to they wanted to increase the amount of mails. So when you want to increase it, what will happen? So if you open if a customer is opening a mail, there's a high chance, there's a high probability that he will click on the link given inside the mail. So that will land him to a certain product page or a certain category product category page, and then probably the chances increase that he'll probably check out, right? So that is bringing in the revenue. So these campaigns are supposed to bring in revenue for the company. So the problem statement here was to first increase the open rate. Now, how to increase the open rate? Okay, the first problem statement, I need to understand my customers, right? So if I'm sending Surbi something related to, let's say, uh, probably arts, and she's not interested in arts, right? So I'm sending her some palette of maybe you are, I don't know, but let's assume she's not. And I'm sending her all these materials with respect to painting. Okay, she's not at all interested. She probably won't open the mail, right? But if Surbi is interested in, let's say, if Surbi is, let's say, a gamer, and I'm sending her some Xbox or PS gadgets, right? The probability is she'll open more. So I need to understand Surbi. Now, how do I go about understanding Surbi if I don't have much data on her, right? So this was the problem statement. We wanted to increase the open rate. So there were many things we did. First, we wanted to create a generalized solution. Now, our company had many e-commerce clients, many from different domains, but we are a product company. So Netcore was a product company, and we wanted to create something which will cater to all different clients of mine. So what we did, we first clustered these customers based on their historical purchase data, right? So we identified, okay, so we like gaming devices more. Tanvi likes more, let's say, wristwatches. Okay, so these are your like favorite categories. And whenever there used to be a campaign, so how the campaign arrives to Netcore. So we get a package where there's, let's say, a subject line, there's a body. Now we wanted to personalize these things according to what our customer needs. So the same campaign, when sent to Surbi and Tanvi, will have different contents in it. Now this content will be governed with what they like. Now the subject line now is sometimes, let's say you say refresh your wardrobe with new clothes, right? Now to reframe this sentence, which will include games like Xbox or something like the artsy stuff. Okay, so that sentence needs to be rephrased in a way that it will still make sense, right? So this was our solution. This was our biggest problem. So how do we cater to different customers in the same campaign, but personalized in a personalized way, right? So this is where we started analyzing our historical subject line. So this was an NLP project mixed with analytical, mixed with customer segmentation. So all different layers and aspects of machine learning came all together in this. Now we had already clustered our customers. So clusters have which have Surbi will all get like gaming stuff, like electronics, accessories, those kind of things will go to that cluster. So the subject lines had to be generated on the fly, right? I getting a notification. Okay. So we had to generate these subject lines according to
I
according to our customer.
think it was my mistake. The meeting was supposed to be from my other account, but I think the Zoom it extended the meeting by itself, so we can go on.
Ah, see AI solutions again. Right. So we wanted to generate these new subject lines using our NLP stuff. So we wanted to first aspect was to understand, okay, what content the marketeer has given us, as in the client. So let's say Mintra, what Mintra is giving us. So when Mintra is giving us one subject line, we want to modify that subject line in such a way that it will still make sense to the body which is underneath the mail, and it will still be personalized enough for Surbi to get what she wants and Tanvi to get what she wants, right? So this was our project. So we had different models generated there. LSTM, beat LSTM. We had used Elmo was big, very popular back then. So we had used Elmo as well, and eventually what we came out with was every customer gets different subject lines, different body of the mail. So basically the whole campaign is getting personalized for every customer, and this is all being done in an automated way, so we don't have to keep on interfering there. Now the success is always understood by what money it brought, right? Or what, let's say in this case, the open rate. So we had a lift of around 14%, so which is like from 7 we went to like 13% open rate. So you can see we are talking about a million customers here, so even an absolute increase of 6% is bringing you a huge revenue, right? So this probably was one of the success story in Netcore, and we had like many around 3 companies we had in Mumbai, which were like uh, big competition to each other. With this success story, we could present it in the Martech fairs we used to have, and that kind of brought us again new clients. So you see, it's not just that you build one solution, you just build business. So this solution was actually transformed into a business for the company, not just for the present but also for the future. So it's all about being the first company to do it. So if you are doing an innovation, you have to be first. You have to find your sweet spot, your area where you can think, where you think you are kind of extraordinary compared to the rest of your competition. So that was kind of the biggest success story we had back then, where we kind of not just got retained our customers but also increased number of clients, let's say, or revenue. So yeah, that probably was my highlight, I can say. Sorry if I was too long.
No, I
Not
think
at
it
all. I
was
think it was
really,
good.
yeah, it was really explanative and made things more clearer. I see Priyanshi had raised her hand, or she had put question in the chat.
Yeah, I think there are
And
2 questions in the chat. People who have
at
asked
that time,
those
I was
questions,
trying to clap
I think she
while
can clap if she wants.
raising the hand. I saw like a reaction. So
would they want to unmute themselves and ask it by themselves, or do you want me to ask it for you?
Yeah, I'll read it then. So can you elaborate about your experience with working with warehouses and ETL pipelines and how the big tech analyzes such amounts of data? Yep. So in my company, we used to use Spark. Spark, I hope I don't have to go through the advantages of Spark versus Hadoop, but yeah, Spark is very good, right? Let's just take that at face value. And yeah, the pipeline to establish that pipeline. In fact, my first 3 months went into this just to arrange the pipeline, because as a company we were getting lots of data, but it's just that we weren't able to kind of put it into the warehouses like you said. So we wanted to build a proper pipeline which will kind of uh, extract all the useful information from the logs. We didn't even have a database, so we had to extract everything from the logs first, put it into the databases, aggregate it, put it against different ABTs. So let's say, so ABTs are basically analytical base tables which we had in our warehouses. So let's say there will be one ABT against a customer, there will be one ABTs against a brand. So what I mean by ABT is, let's say if I am purchasing uh, 10 things in a month, right? So my ABT will have against Saurabh, there will be like 10 purchases done. Okay. Total checkout value I did total different categories I got. So everything summarized against my name, right? So if I just look up on Saurabh's information, I'll get, okay, this is our valued customer. This is what he has purchased so far, the total value he brings into the customer. So ABTs are very important in data science. So our warehouses were full of such ABTs. And for different problems, the ABTs will be built on different levels. So it will be at customer level, brand level, product category level, different levels, right? uh, and yeah, so Spark is something which has kind of revolutionized real timing. So Spark built with Kafka, these kind of real time streaming data logics we built back then, to kind of give on the run. So everything is important on the run, right? So if your customer, let's say, is logged in on to the, let's say, Mintra app, okay, anything he's doing, we need to send him APNs, which is the app push notifications to the customer, send telling him about, okay, what are the offers going on, what are the discounts he can apply, right? So it's important that whenever our customer is kind of opening these apps, he needs to get relevant communication done. So doing this on the fly is important, and to be able to do on the fly, you need to have powerhouses infrastructure. So that is something which Spark provided us. I hope that answers somewhat. Right. Priyanshi says, I wanted to ask how important is a master's degree for working, as in getting your first job in this domain? Not at all important. So I did my first data science role without a master's. What is probably important is having a good GitHub profile, right? So that is something which I had to rely on for my interviews. So most of my interviews were like pitching. I was literally going there and pitching. Okay, this is what I've done. Okay, this is something even you can do. Okay, we can translate or transform this according to your problem. So having a GitHub profile is good. Of course, in these lockdown COVID situations, you're not going to go into someone's cabin and going to pitch that. So probably I'll say have a very good GitHub profile. Create an output. Okay, so whatever your repository is doing, just create that output in a visual way, create a GIF out of it, put it into your LinkedIn profile. I think that's going to get you a long distance, and that will surely help you. So yeah, masters is not relevant, but the reason why I did masters was probably for a work visa. Right. Tanvi asks me, did you deal with any confidential data and how did you manage it at the corporate level projects? Yes, confidential data. There's no confidentiality in India. Okay, again. But yeah, so we were kind of, in a way, after coming to Ireland, I realized probably, okay, how much of a serious concern this is about confidentiality given the GDPR we have here. But back in India, we probably exploited data to as much extent as we could. And yes, we were kind of sometimes in a gray area where, okay, we should do it or not do it. But yeah, I mean, there should be good awareness about this. There's a lack of awareness, I will say, in this industry, even in Ireland, I'm saying. uh, but yeah, confidentiality, you'll only respect the confidentiality if you know about the ethics. You have to have a proper ethics setup, proper awareness about this, and the awareness about how potentially damaging misuse of any kind of this data can have, and what all evils it can raise head. But I'm happy about Europe having such a strong GDPR laws, but I've seen them getting bypassed as well, by finding loopholes. So it's a constant evolving process. You have to, I mean, people will find loopholes, then you have to fill them up again. But yeah, you need to have strong laws for these, definitely. Priyanshi says, what are some pointers for a good GitHub profile and what is a good project? There's nothing a good project. It can be a very simplistic project. Trust me. It's a myth that you, after having written 10,000, 5,000 lines of code, that's a good project. No, I had, I don't know if you guys would have seen it, but like 3 years back, I had created a Harry Potter's Invisibility cloak, which had gone pretty viral. and that had like around just 20 25 lines of code. Okay, so what I do is I have like a cloak, which is nothing but a bed sheet. Okay, and I wrap it around me, and if when I wrap that bed sheet around me, the my background is visible, so that kind of gave it as a invisibility cloak impression. So that went viral, and that was just 25 lines of code and had nothing special done. Okay, it was very simple, simple project. The idea was good. So yeah, what you eventually deliver is going to matter, is going to be the key factor here. So it has to be have some kind of USP. It has to be not something which is repeatable, and it should highlight clearly what it brings to the table. And having as much variety as you can is a good thing, but it's also not bad to have focus on only one specific area. And yeah, you've seen it. Thank you. Right. So yeah, there's no one key mantra, I'll say. I know everyone says that, but yeah, you have to be able to present it in the end. So just having a GitHub profile is not enough. You have to bring it out in a storytelling fashion which everyone can relate to, everyone can understand to. Even in, let's say, even in a corporate domain or even in IT sector, there are many people who just don't understand any complex stuff. So even a person like that should be able to understand, okay, what you have done. So the final output is something which is very important. Mohak says, can you talk about the differences between data engineer and an analyst and where they overlap? Yeah. There are many, I mean, misconceptions maybe. So let's say a data engineer normally will do all the dirty work of arranging the pipeline and getting that table to the, let's say, the data analyst or data science guy, right? Uh, but there are also scenarios where a data engineer is kind of driving it end to end. So the roles are constantly evolving. It's not anymore of a data scientist comes up and tells a data engineer, okay, this is what I want, and then the data engineers will like give it away directly. No, there are many justifications which has to be made, okay, as to why we need this, and it's a constant evolving process, I feel. So like 3 years back, I'll just go and tell the data engineering team, okay, this is a pipeline which I want to build, and this is what I want in the end. But now the data engineers are as much involved in the project as the data science guys, where even they sometimes take the initiative to do what data analyst would normally do. So I feel that both data engineers should be aware of what the data science guys are doing, and vice versa. If you uh, the data engineers will have it easy learning data science stuff, I would say, but the reverse is very difficult. So I have seen data analyst guys, when they have been given raw data sources, they struggle, and they struggle very bad because the data is not in a format which they want. So I think the data analyst guys should have some understanding over normal what, okay, let's say what clusters are, let's say what small how to raise an optimized SQL query, because knowing SQL and writing an optimized SQL query, there are two different things. You'll just probably, if you write a bad query, you'll just get stuck there for hours and hours, and you won't get anything at the end. So yeah, the data engineer guys who work directly on the raw data, and the data analyst guy who work on the processed data, you can say. So even the data processing which data analyst guys do, there's certain processing which is being done by the data engineers, which is like bringing data from different sources. So I think that makes it a little clear. I probably have confused them more, but the data engineers will probably identify where the data lies and extract data from there. And the analysis part which comes like very in the latter stages, which the analyst guys will do, and the presentations and everything would is something which data analyst guys will do. Uh, thanks, Priyanshi, thanks, Mohak. Right. So, okay, my question now, my
I
side.
wanted to ask one thing.
Yeah, yeah, Priyanshu.
What role did you like use Kaggle, or like how was it helpful in your time, or do you recommend it, or how to use it, or what?
Right. So Kaggle in my time, I was using mostly for hackathons, just to stand out. Okay, just to do some things to stand out in my, I mean, to make my profile stand out. And yes, Kaggle is actually very helpful. Now they have even have their kernels, right, where you can literally run someone else's code who have published their notebooks. So I think, yeah, Kaggle gives you a good exposure as to how you can leverage different solutions. So that is what I used to look at Kaggle, because so many good data scientists who work on Kaggle have their solutions open sourced, right? And you can just
Yeah,
use their notebooks, their kernels to run it and understand it. So yeah, for understanding purpose and to try your hands as well, Kaggle gives you a very good platform. So yeah, definitely go for it.
thank you. And I've also heard that people say like Kaggle is really nice and it gives really nice solutions, but you can't actually, implement them in real life.
True, also true. So in if that's like if it's a big data solution or something which involves lots of processing, then probably that will take time. So I don't normally use Kaggle as much to run my code. I use my servers provided by companies, so that is something which I
Got it,
use.
got it.
But yeah, you can always try to descale it or reduce it into a small scale and try it probably. So
Oh,
reducing the size of the data is something you can do.
yeah, got it. Thank you.
Invisible cloak sounded really interesting. Can you give an overview on the logic in short? Okay. So what I did was there's a video frame which is being captured. So let's say the place where I'm sitting, I'm going to capture this video frame, okay, without me, right? Uh, then I write a logic which is going to replace a specific color with its chrome and every different schemas we have. Like we have RGB, then we have HSV, right? These different color formats. I'm going to write a code which is going to replace whatever. So let's say I'm taking green color, right? We have green screens, right? The same green screen logic. It's just the difference being the green screen is in front of you rather than behind you. So if the green screen is in front of me, I'll replace that green screen with my background. So in this case, the green screen was my cloak or my bedsheet, and that bedsheet is going to get replaced with my background. So you get an illusion that I have kind of disappeared. So that's it. I can probably even show you guys. Let me see.
So did you capture the background color shades earlier and then you
Exactly. I
place the
captured
object
the
in
whole
front?
screen, the video, as in the frame. Yeah, I'll just share my screen. Do I have permissions? But
Maybe you need to be made a presenter.
I think I updated the permissions so you can share it.
yep, I can. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
That's really great. It was
So yeah,
nice.
that was it. So pretty small, simple code, like 20, 30 lines, and yeah, that's what you can do. Just have to know what's going on in the current market. So let's say in my time, anything like a image classifier to write it using a TensorFlow, creating the graphs and everything was a pain, right? But with the introduction of Keras and PyTorch, it has become very simple now. So you just need to be aware of all these constantly different packages coming out, wrapper around wrapper. So it's like 10 levels of wrapper inside one package, and it is getting very simpler and easier for stuff to do in small lines of code. So just have to be aware of what new developments are going on.
With these developments, sometimes it gives like the idea of like I'm not actually doing anything, I'm just implementing someone else's code, and do I actually know anything? And so like
True. In fact, I had this feeling as well, and I went back and wrote down a logistic regression from scratch. I did it, and then I was talking to one of our senior data scientist guy that okay, this is what I did. I wanted to understand it in deep. Then he told me, "You are a fool." I was like, "Why?" I was like, "You are just reinventing the wheel." I'm like, "What?" And then you're how many things you can do it like this? Okay, today you did logistic, tomorrow you'll do decision tree, and where will it end? You have to understand that your role is not just of a researcher. You have to use that to apply somewhere. So comes to that choice. What choice do you want to make? Do you want to go in a research position, or you want to go into an applications position? So it depends on what basically you want to progress in your career as. Yeah, I had few questions, right? Yeah, I think, yeah, I wanted to know what is everyone here seeking a career in data science, or is it something which you are just exploring right now?
Speaking for myself, I was interested in data science like once upon, like I think there was maybe like a time when I found this really nice, but when then I actually started working on it, I felt like that only that I'm just implementing someone else's code and I'm not sure if I really get it. And in my institute, people don't do data science as much. We go for like software engineering roles. So I also practiced my data structures and algorithms along with that, and um, got I got an internship for a software engineering role right now. So this is something that interests me, but I feel like if I'm not sure if I'm actually good at it, if I'm not sure if I'll actually be able to do so. So I think that I'll follow this right now, and maybe later if I feel like I'm gravitating in that direction, I can follow that direction.
Yeah, I mean that's very important, you know. So you just have to give it a shot, just try it for some time, and then understand, okay, if this really interests you or not. Just jumping the wagon is not something very wise, which I used to do, and I think it's not something wise which I did. Fortunately it worked, but it's not going to happen for everyone. So you just have to keep on exploring and seeing, okay, how comfortable do you feel. But yeah, one thing I would like to say, no matter what field you want to go, data science or anything else, having a software engineering background never goes to waste. It will always help. The basics which we learn there in C++, Java, they never go to waste. The oops concepts, they never go to waste. I've seen many people, especially graduates who come directly into data science, they have their concepts altogether misplaced here and there. So they have seen only Python, and Python kind of violates the oops like anything. They have they have provisions for following oops concepts properly, but I have rarely seen people do it. So that is something which the developers do. So I really like it when a developer comes from a developer who comes into data science field. I always like looking at their code because they have proper structures and very understandable code. So always have those Java and OOPS concepts very fresh in your memory. That's never going to go to
Mhm.
waste.
Thank you. That really encouraged me.
Right. Akash says, how is a business analyst profile different from data analyst profile? Which one should a non-technical person pursue? Right. Interesting question. Yeah. So, business analyst and data analyst probably do the same thing. Okay. They probably do the same thing. Only exception being the data analyst solution will be backed by the data insights, whereas a business analyst also has the liberty to follow his hunches, to follow his instincts. So that is something a business analyst can do sometimes, but a data analyst is normally expected uh, to speak only for what the data says. So he won't go beyond that. But it's an evolving field again. So I might be completely outfooted what I'm saying today. Uh, there are there are changes happening in this field constantly. The one thing which won't change probably is a business sense always helps. So no matter if you're a software developer or a data analyst or a business analyst, you need to have that business sense. So why we are doing this, whatever we are doing this, and if there is a better way to do it, which is going to add value, so that is something never goes to waste. Always have that business sense, no matter you are a data analyst. uh, Even if you're a non-technical person, I feel that having some way around data always helps. Similarly, for a data analyst guy, having a business sense, even if you're, let's say, a non-technical person, you can still kind of have, I mean, leverage the easy to use data tools for uh, for 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 uh, for creating solutions simply. So it doesn't matter which field you come from, you have to have understanding of the business, the data, and everything which goes around it. Did I just confuse you more? So the summary will be an expert, be a master of what you do, but be a jack of other trades too. So Mohawk is a data engineer intern at Amazon. That's nice. How is it going there, Mohawk? Tanvi says, I'm a SAP consultant, perhaps far away from actually analyzing data in real. Studied in my postgrad though. Yeah, I have seen few SAP consultants who eventually come towards the data science side as well. So yeah, always a good day to have to know SAP as well as the data side of it. Yep, all the best to you. Yeah, it's going pretty good for Mohawk. Nice. So this is your final year. Do you guys do internship in your final year or third year?
We do it here in third year,
Okay.
but I think in India there are graduates who also do it in final year.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have it in the summer of after a third year and before fourth year, that summer.
Okay. Right.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, same for us. I mean, we also do it as a part of third year in the summer vacation, but it's actually a part of the course, so we get credits for that. But it's the timeline is
Yeah.
the same, I think.
Right. Right. Are you guys worried about the convocation?
Kind of. I mean, I really wanted to be in person. This is
I
so.
mean, 4 years I dreaded for this one good moment, and you're taking that away from me. Ah, the pain.
I'm in my
Uh,
pre-final year, so I hope I will get my convocation.
uh, yeah, we hope you do. Everyone hopes you do. Right. Akash says currently working as a Tableau Power BI consultant at Birlasoft. Nice. Tableau. So the thing with I always say this to people who work in a paid license software, always have a good handy open source tool at your disposal as well. So if you're doing Tableau, that's great, but Tableau is an expensive tool. Okay. you never know when we'll be hit with another recession, and people will start jumping to these open source free solutions. So always have that one tool. Okay, you have sent Power BI as well. Yeah, Power BI I think is free right now, but it's a Microsoft product, so you never be sure about Microsoft, right?
Yeah, Saurabh.
So
So
yeah,
Power BI is free actually. Tableau has a license. So
right.
my currently I was in the first project I was using Tableau, and since it was licensed, and then when coronavirus hit up, my project, it got over, and I had to go towards Power BI. And currently now we are using Power BI, and since BirlaSoft is a partner of Microsoft, so that's why it is good to use Power BI now, because it's open source, and also it has many good features, like where you have more data connections actually. So yeah, it is much more better than Tableau, I guess, and it is easy to
Definitely,
use.
yeah. Yeah, Power BI is open source and free, but I'm not just sure about how any Microsoft product, okay, they can just change that. Right now, what they're trying to do is they're trying to capture the market, which is so heavily Tableau based.
Yeah.
There's something called as ClickView, which you might want to explore. Then there's Django, which people use. It's a JavaScript based tool. But yeah, always have one open source handy with you.
So is it good to make a career in a data visualization field, or a data science, or a business analyst? Like, people are confused, like where should they, go, like towards data science or business side, or the data engineering side or visualization side? This is the main confusion actually in this field.
Recently, we had a member in our team who joined, and she had done her PhD in visualizations. So something like this was never heard before, right? So, as I say, things keep on evolving. So, no matter which field you choose, uh, if you're good at it, there's nothing which is going to stop you. And I mean this like anything. I know this sounds very cliche, but I mean it. You have to be good at any whatever you do. So even a business analyst position, if you're good at it, doesn't matter, you will do very well in that. In terms of, let's say, what the market is more open to, or the opportunities, I think everything has equal opportunities right now. uh, Something like visualization takes a backseat for many students or many professionals, right? So they'll probably end up doing some very make away solution. So you have to concentrate on what you think is your strength. So if you think you are very creative, go for the visualization side as well. But of course, if you want to do visualization, you have to know how to process the data as well. Similarly, for me as a data scientist, I need to understand, or I need to be good at how well I'm going to present my findings. So even I need to know some kind of visualizations uh, uh, side of it. So you have to be just focus on one key scale, but along with that, you need to at least know what other stuffs are. Without that, uh, it's anyways going to be impossible to even reach to the visualization if you cannot do the normal pre-processing, right? So go for any role which you think suits you. I think the job descriptions mentions what expertise they are looking for and what other prerequisites are important. So probably going through the job descriptions, you will understand what their demand is and how you fit in. So focus on your strengths, I'll say.
Yeah, thanks, sir.
I wanted to ask what exactly is the difference between a management consulting analyst and a consultant? So, when you get promoted to a consultant, how does your job change?
Uh, the designation changed, to be honest, more than anything. The tasks at hand remain the same. You have different. I mean, let's say you probably have to have manage a bigger team now. You will be probably in direct contact with the clients. So that's probably the only difference I think you will face. You'll have more meetings than work. Most of your day will be spent in that. So it's all about different designations and responsibilities. So any uh, any higher level designation you get or promotions you get, it just means that you're going to get more responsibilities. So if you're working on one project or two projects, now you'll be managing four projects. So that's probably the difference, I'd say.
And what exactly would be the tools you would be using on a daily basis?
For me personally, I use everything from Python to R to Power BI. Sometimes Tableau. I am not really fond of Tableau. No offense. I think Mohawk was it? Akash it was, yeah.
No, I also
No,
like Power BI only, not Tableau, because it is licensed and Power BI is more free to use, like easy to use.
right, right. And other than that, if my areas are concerned, then NLP is my core area, along with normal analytics, clustering, customer segmentations. So yeah, I have to be open to everything, because not always you'll get projects according to what your expertise is. So it's always important to be aware of other things apart from your core skills, especially in these COVID times. You have to take whatever you get.
Saurabh, just one thing, like for ETL or for data pre-processing, which is the best, thing that we should use? Like in Power BI, we have Power Query to process the data. Similar in Python, we have Pandas. So like, which is the best thing to use for pre-processing, like Python or any tool that you would suggest?
So normally I don't do pre-processing in Power BI, but yeah, Power Queries or those DAX queries are good enough in Power BI to do any pre-processing you want to do. Then there's also formulas. What do we call them? Measures, I think we call them, right? So which will kind of generate those aggregated values you want in Power BI. So I think Power BI is kind of good in terms of pre-processing and the whole pipeline or the data model which you are talking about. It's just that how scalable it is, right? So Power BI runs on a RAM. So somewhere there comes a bottleneck where, okay, I cannot do any more processing here. And also if you have like lots of data loaded on Power BI, it just keeps getting heavy and slow. So if Power BI attached with a server, that's a very that's a go-to solution, I would say, in terms of pre-processing. If you have like I mean, the data scale of data is high, or else I think Power BI is good enough.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else wants to ask any last questions?
Tanvi says your career, your adventure. Okay, yeah. I won't say career, your life, your adventure.
Yeah, I think it should be very open. I mean, even if you're doing a very technical job, it should be up to you if you want to be in that industry or you just want to switch and do something completely different. I don't think your degree is binding you towards that you have to go for that particular job, even if you did a degree in that. You should be open minded to other things as well, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I chose electronics, right? And by the second year, I was sure, okay, I don't want to do this. So just as early as second year, I realized that okay, electronics is not my thing. By the time I was in my final year, I was like, I just want to get done with this electronics. I never want to do anything with that field again. So and when I joined the company, I thought, okay, this is my thing. Then I realized, okay, no, I want to do something else. So just be open. Don't think like, okay, I'm going to pursue a career in this throughout my life. It's not going to be like that. As you grow, your likes dislikes change. You keep on exploring new things. Some of you will get interested into business, some of you will be will go into technical, some of you might go in research as well. So just be open. Don't think, okay, this is the point where I'm going to make my decision and that I will stick by rest of my life. No, it's not going to happen. So take anything which you like at that particular moment, keep exploring. You will find something more interesting, more worthwhile, more suitable to what you think you want to do. Just be open-minded, I would say.
I also want to ask, like, in terms of the other, disciplines of management consulting, how are they different from each other? There's digital, there's data analytics, and I don't know the third one. I think that's marketing. Marketing is pretty straightforward, but how is the digital one different from data analytics?
So you're saying how digital marketing is different from data analytics?
Yeah, I think yeah. I guess it is digital marketing. Yeah.
Right. So digital marketing involves anything. I mean, it is like marketing, but it's going to cover the digital aspect of it, which includes anything from, let's say, your mails, anything through to reach you through your, let's say, handheld devices, through social media. It can be something as simple as having an advertisement on your YouTube channel, right? So you will deal with probably different aspects of the KPIs and the metrics for digital marketing will be different. For example, in social media, it will be like impressions, click-through rate, those kind of. So the KPIs change. And data analyst, okay, data analyst is a kind of a bigger branch under which digital marketing and the analysis of digital marketing will fall under. But yeah, digital marketing is a very growing field, and many of my friends who are in that domain now are kind of taking courses and learning about data science stuff, because the amount of data which now digital marketing is generating is humongous. So digital marketing has grown tremendously, especially in this COVID times.
And how about the machine learning skills? Like, what do you think about deep learning and machine learning? Are you using those kind of skills every day at your job? Or do you think that's really project oriented and you would be more focused towards analyzing and pre-processing instead of building the ML models?
So again, depends on the project, like you said. So in for me, there are two things I'm doing right now. One is a project where I'm doing the traditional data analytics stuff. One is a POC which I'm doing, which involves deep learning at core. There is something called as relation extraction, which I'm doing, which is in a POC phase. So there are different options which we are exploring, and that includes deep learning, that includes some API calls. So it depends. Clearly it depends what field you want to go towards. So I feel if you're interested more in the deep learning side, nothing like creating your own project and kind of showcasing your skills to kind of pitch eventually to something. If you're going into a consulting field, that is something which you can always have the liberty or the option to do, where you can pitch your ideas and then get a project. Okay, this is what I'm good at, this is what I can bring value into your project. So would you like to try this? It's not always going to work, but that is how you kind of increase your chances of working on your kind of project, the project which you desire.
Thank you so much. I think it was a very interactive and nice session. There's one last question here. Should one focus more on the tools, Power BI or Tableau, or towards languages and frameworks like Python and R?
That's a tricky question. I think you should know both. I wouldn't say just focus on one thing, because you never know the place where you eventually end up working, what they prefer, or most of the times it's also the client which prefers some solution in a certain way. So let's say if a client is more comfortable in having traditionally solutions in Tableau, so you'll have to work in Tableau, you won't be given that choice. You can also make your case that okay, this is the advantages of working in a different framework which involves Python, but that is subject to what the client needs, right? So eventually it's all up to them. Always have handy, I will say, one element from every area. So let's say for database you have one thing, for visualization you have different, languages you have something. So you should have at least one feather from each of the from each area, which will kind of keep you in a good stead to face anything unexpectedly which comes your way. Because if you, let's say, if you know Power BI and you are asked to work on Tableau, you won't find it that difficult. But you have never worked on any of these data visualization, data modeling tools, then you'll probably find it very hard. So just know one at least from each different areas.
Also, Saurabh, like, do we need to have understanding of cloud like AWS, Google Cloud, and Azure? How much understanding is required for the cloud basics, or like for a data scientist or a data analyst?
It's always good because these days I have seen data scientists have also got to do the data engineering part of it. So it's always good to have at least one certification in either AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, anything. So I think it's not. I'm not saying a must skill which you should have, but it will definitely help. It definitely will make you stand out in the crowd.
Okay.
Anyone else wants to ask any last question? I think we already went over an hour.
Yep. And we missed the snow.
Yeah, and we missed the snow as well. Yeah, it's okay, no worries. I think I'll upload the recording on YouTube.